Welcome. Attention elderly people, because we're going to talk about something that might interest you. If you're considering it, the reverse mortgage, and be careful because it could be dangerous. A reverse mortgage is taking out a loan secured by your property, and that loan is settled at the end. The end is when the person who took out the loan passes away, and the loan is settled along with the interest accrued during the life of that loan. So, when the loan and interest are settled, the total amount is calculated and paid using the guarantee that was taken to grant the loan. The mortgage guarantee, the right to enforce the sale of your home. Of course, the issue is how much your home is worth when you die, whether it was valued at the beginning, whether it will be valued at the end, and if your home will cover that debt. Why? Because if it doesn't, the debt will pass to the heirs who accept the inheritance. So, let's give an example to show you how it works and what would happen. And pay attention, because we're going to differentiate between interest and capitalization of interest. And if you see that, run away. We'll look at the case where we're talking about interest, simple interest. The formula we've all heard since we were kids. Interest equals capital times rate times time. Right, so let's imagine someone aged 70 requests 100,000 euros, and that person dies after 10 years. The loan term is 10 years and the interest rate, to keep it simple, let's say 10%. So, what interest would be generated by borrowing 100,000 euros over 10 years at 10%? Well, it would be the capital, 100,000 euros, times the rate, 10%, which is 0.1 times 10. But 0.1 times 10 is 1, and 1 times 100,000 euros is 100,000 euros. The interest is 100,000 euros. Look, borrowing 100,000 euros at 10% for 10 years equals another 100,000 euros in interest. That means, when settling the loan and the interest, the total will be 200,000 euros. And watch out, because if the house was valued at 150,000 euros, the house will only cover 150,000 euros. The other 50,000 euros will be passed on to the heirs. Be careful if you accept the inheritance, because we've seen, and it's online, people are renouncing inheritances precisely because of this. Because there are reverse mortgages with debts greater than the guarantee used to grant the mortgage, which was the house the relative lived in. Right, that's with simple interest. But be warned, because we've seen interest with capitalization of interest, which means that the interest generated each year is added to the outstanding capital. This is called compound interest. And frankly, it's pure usury. So, let's explain it with the formula. The interest now equals the capital, and open parentheses, times 1, open parentheses, 1 plus the rate, 0.1, which is 10% close parentheses, raised to the power of the time, in this case 10. So, in this case, the interest calculated with compound interest is 159,000 euros. Meaning you'll have to pay back the 100,000 euros you borrowed, plus another 159,000 euros, which, look, is 59,000 euros more in interest than with simple interest, if they start accumulating and capitalizing the interest. And that's just in 10 years. Imagine if the person lives 20 years. Then you'd have to recalculate, and it would skyrocket. So be very careful if you're going to sign a reverse mortgage. You must understand all this clearly. You need to see the draft of the mortgage, that is, the mortgage deed, before signing it, to understand it properly, to ensure it's transparent, and if you still want to go ahead, that's another matter. But what can't happen is that things aren't clearly explained to you. You don't understand them, and then things happen, like others having the right to take your house, and even part or all of the heir's inheritance. So this is what's dangerous. So be careful, because there are devils. There are people who will do anything for money, and we know that in the banking sector. We've lived through things like floor clauses, which also went through notaries, and many people, thanks to that famous 2013 court ruling. Those clauses were declared void, either for lack of transparency, as in this case. Because when people hear interest, capitalization of interest, many people don't understand. Don't be alert, and if you have any doubts about anything real estate related, we are licensed real estate agents, and we can advise you on any property matter for a very small fee on the WhatsApp number 6930233926, and we'll be happy to help you and drive out the devils. So, until the next video, God willing, thank you.